Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope that you had a great week this week. I hope everything is going as planned as you close out the year. Remember, I am very strong in my belief that it's important to finish the year just as important to finish the year strong as it is to start a new year strong. In fact, you don't start a new year strong if you didn't finish strong. You start a new year strong by having the momentum that moved you through the last part of the previous year. I think closing out years has to be a lot more important to people than their idea of kicking off the year with New Year's resolutions that normally fade within the first 90 days of the year. And as you begin to revert back to old habits, you have to develop new habits in thought, new habits in behavior, new habits in operations and protocols. You have to really change your life in order to really truly change your situation. You have to change your mind. And I want to talk to you about that. And one new thing that we're starting up, I started yesterday with one of the books. We're taking four of my top books. For those of you who have followed me anytime, you know that I have authored 24 books in the current process of writing book number 25. And what we're doing is taking four of the top performers and reintroducing them to the world by way of me actually reading excerpts from the book and then having discussions along the lines of what is meant in that so people can actually see what's there. I think that outside of working with me directly or working in one of the self-automated programs that I have to offer, reading books that focus on something that is important to you is another way of really truly growing. There are studies out there that say that the average person in the United States only reads one book a year, but the most successful 5% read on an average 4 books per month. Um, and everybody that I know that is remarkably successful, personally, that I personally know that are remarkably successful, are avid readers. In order to get there, there's this correlation that you cannot escape. The more you read, the more prepared you are, the more you are able to expand your mind, the more you are able to expand your knowledge, the more you are able to accurately and intentively, deliberately uh, influence your growth. What you want to do is not only grow and change, but grow and change in specificity and deliberate nature. In other words, you're going to determine where you need to grow, how you need to grow, what you need to grow into, because you know what you desire. And that's so important. That cuts down the learning curve, that cuts down the path. You want to get to your destination as quickly as possible, but you don't circumvent the process. You have to master it. And I think reading books help to master the process. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually read from the number one performer today. And I'll be back to read from other books throughout the day. But this is Critical Mass. Critical Mass is my 20th book. It is, if you want to achieve success, Critical Mass is a step by step, in depth walkthrough mental processes, changing of behavior, changing of thinking, how to reprogram your, all of that stuff. It's in this book. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read from, and I'm not going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this throughout the remainder of the year. Reading from different books. Critical Mass is going to be a primary contributor. We're going to do that at least once a day. Hey Maggie, how's it going? Yes, you can. The link should be in the description box. If not, I can definitely did I put it in the description box? Maybe I didn't. So what I'll need to do is go back in and actually look at it. Yeah, it's in the description box. Just check. It's in the description box. But what I will do is I'll put it in the chat as well. The link to actually order online is now in the chat. So what we're going to do is we're going to read from this book. And while I chose a segment out of the first chapter, I will not be doing this on a linear basis. We will not go chapter 1, 2, 3. I'm going to find things that I think are pertinent at the time, and we're going to address them from different spaces, different points in the books at different times, based off of how I'm moved. And I am very attentive to energy. I'm very attentive to spiritual energy. In other words, I'm very attentive to what moves me to touch people. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so effective is I have an understanding of the science. I have an understanding of the practices, but I am very connected with the Most High in a way that allows me to minister to people where they need to be ministered to. And I think that's extremely important. It's again about knowing your purpose. It's again about being aware of who you are and what you are and why you're here. It increases your effectiveness. And so that's what I'm going to do. So hello, Melissa. Again, hello, Maggie. Maggie, matter of fact, we got your order for academic apartheid. And just so you don't think I'm pulling your leg, here it is. I don't know if you can see it that good, but there's your name, and it's actually sitting out. It'll go out on Monday. And so I just want to let you know we did get that order. We got it processed. So as soon as it goes out, you'll get a tracking number. All right, we're going to read from a segment in the first book. The first chapter is entitled, I want to give you Your Mind is the Genesis of Your Destiny. And the segment we're going to read from is called The Mind Unleashed. And so here we go. And what I'll do is afterwards, I'll summate. I may hit something in here that I just really want to talk on for a second, so I may stop. But I'll summate at the end, and you guys can pose any questions in the chat that you like. But here we go. It says, when studying the great philosophers that have existed throughout history, as well as some of the most successful men throughout the annals of time, I noticed something unique. While there were many differences in philosophical opinion, one thing remained consistent across the board with each and every one of them. They all believed that your minds create your reality. It did not matter what religious affiliation they claimed, their background and race had no bearing on this philosophical idea. Could this be a simple coincidence, or have these exceptional minds nailed down the key to success, wealth, and overall fulfillment in life? What once appeared to be a galactic premise during my youth was developed into one of the most well-founded truths in the universe. While the actual function itself is highly complex, in its most simple form, the person's life is what their minds make of it. You are what you think. The human mind is one of the greatest marvels known to man. The truth is that even the most erudite scientists and historians only have a limited perspicacity or understanding of the massive potential and range of the human mind. However, what we do know with remarkable certainty is that he who is able to master his mind will master the challenges of life. The human mind should be viewed as being analogous to fertile soil. Soil that is fertile is primed to return to the planter whatever is planted. It is important to understand the principle of planting because the principle also applies equally to the human mind. The soil is a neutral element, meaning that it does not care what is planted in it. Whatever is planted will be returned multiplied. Whether the planter plants nutritional vegetables and fruits or seeds of poisonous fruit, the soil will return only what is planted. The human mind is the same way. It has no preference as to what is planted in it, but whatever is planted will be returned in like form. What follows is my attempt to provide a succinct but lucid explanation of the power of the human mind. In studying the principles of the successful and wealthy, the one common denominator has repetitively been recognized as the human mind. Three of the most influential books that address the success through universal law of attraction are The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Each of these books points out with exceptional distinction that when the mind can grasp any concept that travels through it as being real and possible, it initiates a universal process in which the universe conspires to bring to that person that which their mind has conceived and their heart desires. Of course, it calls for the person to put in their share of work, but authentic faith and belief in anything demands action. So this is not a problem. When I am working with my clients through Visionetics courses, I place great emphasis on the power of the mind and its neutrality. When engaging the power of the mind to produce the desired reality, it is important to remember the analogy of the soil. The mind does not care what you plant. It will take it, cultivate it, multiply it, and return it to you in like form. This is why it is of unbelievable importance to guard your mind against entertaining negative thoughts. You are what you think. Said another way, you become what you think consistently. Your subconscious is the most remarkable computer the world will ever see, processing billions of bits of data per second, while simultaneously processing between 40,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Even information and ideas that may slip past your consciousness will be captured by the subconscious and stored for processing. When the subconscious encounters any one thought or any specific type of thinking at a substantial level, it applies it to a certain priority of reason. Additionally, any thoughts that the conscious mind considers to be of value will also be given a high priority. Thoughts and ideas that are given a high priority by the conscious and subconscious mind will activate what is known as the reticular activating system. The brain is quite spectacular in all the functions that it carries out over the course of the day. In fact, each and every function that humans perform in the state of consciousness is facilitated by some part of the brain, even some subconscious actions as well. While the brain itself is not totally of the mind, is not the totality of the mind, it is the physical structure through which many mental tasks are carried out. The reticular activating system is one of the most important parts of the brain, having an exceptional influence on cognitive function. There are a multitude of studies on the mammalian brain, which is the reptilian or the early stage of the brains, have revealed that the RAS, or the reticular activating system, has a great deal to do with cognitive functions associated with awareness. In simple, the RAS is the brain's attention center. In other words, when the subconscious and the conscious mind determine that a particular thing is of interest, the RAS amplifies awareness of that thing. And I'll give you an example. Have you ever went out and bought a blouse or bought a shirt or some jeans or bought a car, and before you bought it, you really hadn't noticed anybody else with it, and all of a sudden when you drive it off the lot or when you get out the store, all of a sudden you see everybody's wearing it or everybody's driving it? Well, the truth is that it didn't just appear. It didn't all of a sudden everybody went out and bought it when you bought it. It was always there, but the brain has to process and cipher through billions of bits of information per second. Everything can't be important because the conscious mind can only process 2,000 bits of data or information per second. So that the billions of bits that's moving around, everything that's going around, your subconscious picks up. Every ambient sound, everything that passes within front of your eyes or your ears hears, your subconscious mind processes and holds. It's in there. And it's categorized automatically with a fraction of a second. But the thing is, the conscious mind can't take it all. So there are a lot of things that get into the subconscious that the conscious mind is unaware of. But the moment that the conscious mind establishes priority, meaning that the conscious mind says, man, this is important. And one of the ways that you establish something is important, you go spend money on it. Okay, now that's important. All of a sudden, the RAS, the reticular activating system, says this is important. Now, all of a sudden, every time you see it, you recognize it. Why? Because the reticular activating system has made it important. Why do I point this out? Why did I stop reading and point this out? Because it's important to understand what you're emphasizing in your thoughts and in your behavior. Because the reticular activating system will give it meaning and give it priority, and you will focus on it. The last thing you want to do is unintentionally do this to something you don't want to be focusing on. So you got to intentionally set a priority on the ideas, the thoughts, and the things you want to focus on. Never, ever place your focus on what you don't want, because the mind is neutral. It doesn't go on what you want. It goes on what you focus on. And what you focus on, it has a tendency to reproduce. So be careful in that. Let's go on. We're almost done. The RAS will do this with any idea or concept. This is why it is so important to monitor what you allow into your gates, into your conscious and subconscious mind. If you focus on the negative, the RAS will amplify the negative. which will create a cyclical effect that will culminate in achieving a progressively negative outlook on life. The same is true for the reverse. When you fill your mind with positive thoughts, the anticipation of great things and high expectations, your RAS, will identify and highlight the positive as well as those opportunities related with that which you desire to achieve. In other words, check this out. Not only are you identifying what you want, the brain immediately starts to look for ways to get it. But the same happens in the negative. If all you talk about is being broke, if all you're talking about is your relationship going down the drain, your brain will find out every reason why it's happening, and it will sit up and put it in front of you. You will start to find, man, every time I look up, something's going wrong. That's because you have created an idea to focus and center on something, and the brain is literally reproducing it. And your energy that's associated with the emotions of how your brain is processing information will also attract to you more negativity or more positivity, depending on your energy level. Everybody emits energy associated with your thoughts and how you interpret them. Okay. The mind also plays an immense role in the law of attraction. In fact, your reality is the result of your thoughts. If you are a person who harbors negative beliefs, it is those beliefs that are attracting the negative circumstances you continue to encounter. Remember, your mind will produce spiritual energy based on what it entertains most. Kind of just said that. So even if you are thinking about what you don't want within the context of constantly thinking and saying you don't want it, you're still giving it mental attention. Mental attention. Keep that phrase in mental attention. What are you giving mental attention to? And it is registering through your neural processes of the brain, and it is emitting negative energy into the universe. And that energy is like a seed planted in fertile soil. It is absolutely going to return to you what you have planted in it. You must train yourself to entertain positive thoughts that are directly associated with those things you do want. In my opinion, one of the greatest deficits of mankind is that we don't value our minds. Please pay close attention to what I'm about to read here. You see, let me explain. Familiarity and infrangible access breed contempt. We don't have to fight for our minds. We're not required to earn our minds. We are born with our minds, and for that reason, we tend to take them for granted. There's a standard belief among life's most successful people, and we only use 10% of our brain capacity. While there are many who attempt to invalidate this theory, there is much left unanswered in their efforts. While there is some confusion as to where the idea of 90% unused capacity originated, it is likely the essay by William James in 1906, which was later published in 1910, The Moral Equivalent of War. While James did not say that humans only use 10% of their brain, he did say we are only making use of a small part of our possible mental and physical resources. I want to double back real quickly before I close this out. We're almost done. Yeah, we're almost done. Look, this part right here. You see, familiarity and infrangible access breed contempt. When you have something that you are easily able to get to, you tend to take it for granted. You tend not to give it a great deal of value. You tend to sort of sit around and kind of move through it. Things you don't give a great deal of value to, you don't tend to invest in. You don't tend to optimize. You tend to kind of just move along and let it be. And the problem is your mind needs your attention. Your mind needs you to guide it. Your mind needs you to determine what you're going to feed it. Your mind needs you to be in direct control of what you're uploading into your mental framework, because your mental framework is going to produce your reality. If you're uploading negativity, if you're uploading fear, if you're uploading anxiety, if you're uploading stress, you're going to reproduce it. You're going to magnify it. You're going to make it worse. It's going to become a cyclical process that's going to produce things you don't want to produce, but you're not going to know how to stop it because you don't know how you created it. Well, I'm telling you now, this is how you create it. You created it by giving it attention. Stop giving it attention. Start giving attention to the things you want. The brain has an unbelievable capacity to take what you want, magnify it, come up with ways to do it. There are things that I didn't have access to the answer until I started the process. I can tell you that over and over again. There are things that I did not have access to until I started the process. I didn't get the access or the understanding before I decided I'm going to move on it. So I actually had to step out on faith and go into something believing that something positive was going to happen before I got the first positive result. A lot of you are sitting around and waiting on something to happen instead of moving into it and trusting and believing that when you move towards something worth having, that is possible, that the universe, that God, that nobody is going to stop you. God has promised that nothing will be impossible and that nothing will be withheld when you have good intent for it. Some of the things that people are going after, that they get it, they're going to do bad with it. That's another problem. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the things that can totally change your life so that you can totally change the lives of other people. Okay, say, here's what we do. We do know there's an entire population of people who consistently defy logic and reason as it stands in today's world. By all definition, these feats that they are accomplishing are impossible. So what sets these people apart from the rest? Is it their background? Absolutely not. These people come from highly diverse backgrounds where there are no common denominator to mention. Could it be they grew up with a silver spoon in their mouths and had a financial head start on others? No, the fact is that the majority of these people came from meager beginnings. So what is the difference? The one common denominator among every last one, is that they believe that they could. And they had a mindset that supported the type of behavior and habits that ensured that they would get whatever they set their minds to have. So, is this mental capacity exclusive only to those who are currently successful? Absolutely not. Every person on this planet has the capacity to develop a mindset that expects to do the exceptional, the extraordinary, and the phenomenal. Unfortunately, the clear majority are either unaware or choose not to. Even though our minds are capable of extraordinary feats, the vast majority of humans assign menial tasks to it, never challenge it to perform at the level of its capacity. Far too many people reside in the limitations and boundaries of a box that they have been placed in by the limited beliefs of others that have been passed on to them. The truth is that the only limits that are real in your life are the ones you accept as being real in your mind. Let me say that again. The truth is that the only limits that are real in your life are the ones that you accept as being real in your mind. When you uncap the potential of your mind, when the mind becomes completely unleashed, there's absolutely nothing that can be conceived that cannot ultimately be achieved. The person who possesses the mind unleashed is absolutely unstoppable. It is unfortunate that so many people allow the opinions of others to become their reality. They are being squeezed into these small areas and simply asked to exist. To them, it is too much to ask their mind to dream. Their imagination has become emaciated because it is inactive. It is a situation in which organic process has been replaced by systematic procedure, producing an assembly line of marginal performers in an infinite world of possibilities. When I take on a client, I immediately introduce them to the Warrior's Creed, which is designed to challenge people to demand more of themselves, to expect more out of life, and to accept no excuses from themselves or from others. The good news is that no matter where you are right now, you can change your life starting today. It will not be an overnight process, but you will be able to track your progress. You might begin by exchanging your negative beliefs with a positive one that supports your desires and aspirations. This will initially take a great deal of conscious effort, but you will be literally shifting paradigms, the lens through which you view life. The best way to change your belief system and your thought processes is by exposing your subconscious mind to information that supports the new belief system that you wish to develop. The things that enter your gates, your eyes and your ears, most frequently and consistently will impact your belief system. And once this information and the ideas associated with it become a part of your belief system, your subconscious will take over from there. Your subconscious is remarkable, having the capacity to execute the incredibly powerful mental programs that are responsible for facilitating every aspect of your everyday life. Your subconscious governs 96% of your life. The outcome of your life, 96% of that came from your subconscious. Decisions you make, everything else is subconsciously driven. It is my goal in the series that unveils throughout this book to unveil in digestible portions the entire idea of the power of the mind, the 7 universal laws, and the unlimited potential associating with mastering it all. So, what is it that I'm attempting to convey in all of this? As I stated in the beginning, it's quite simple. You are what you think. That's just a portion of chapter 1. But basically, the core idea is your mental processes are so powerful. How you think, how you interpret what you engage, how you set your state. Beliefs are anchored by experiences. Beliefs are anchored by programming. the way that you change an existing belief is you have to change the programming. Your programming is changed by your self-talk. Your programming is changed by what you listen to, by what you watch, as well as what you refuse to accept and what you rebut. It is so important that you distance yourself from negative thinking. It is so important that you distance yourself from worry, fear, anxiety, stress, because they are cyclical in their production. They don't only make you feel bad, they make you think bad. When you think bad, you behave badly. You make poor decisions. You make decisions out of desperation. You make decisions out of fear. You make decisions from an emotional perspective. Strong and powerful and well-rounded decisions are never made from a place of emotion. Emotions are an indicative mechanism. Let me explain what that means. Emotions are designed to let you know of a specific reality. If you're angry, it normally means that in some way you were wronged. If you're sad, it means in some way you've experienced a loss. If you're fearful, it means there's some way you're about to experience something that you're uncertain about, or that you don't feel you're going to like the outcomes. These are emotions that make you aware of a current situation. They don't help you make the decisions and choices that will help you deal with the situation. It simply says, if I'm angry, it says someone has done me wrong. Do I need to act out of anger? No, because I'm probably going to do the wrong thing. I'm going to make the wrong decision. But it lets me know I need to deal with that situation. That's all your emotions are meant to do, is to make you aware of a situation so you know. Emotions of joy, that's a positive emotion. Well, it tells me I really like this, so I want to replicate it. I want to relive it. So what do I need to do to relive it? On the flip side, strain and stress or worry are telling me, hey, I don't like this situation. I don't want to relive it. So what do I need to stop practicing in order to do it? But if I respond to it from the pain or the anger, then I make decisions that normally cause it to get worse. So you have to understand that. That's why you need to have a process through which you calm down. You have to have a process through which you are able to take what you're given in your emotion, but then allow your emotions to quickly subside so that you can move into the decision-making process, the problem-solving process, the planning process, the strategic process. Those is where you grow. That's where you grow. But you also have to have a clear understanding and belief that I can do what I'm setting out to do. I've read that Plato said this. I've also definitely read Henry Ford said it. But it's traced back as far as I can get to the Greek philosopher Plato, a student of Socrates. And he said that he who believes he can and he who believes he can't are usually both right. That's the power of the mind in simplicity. I hope that you were able to get something out of that book. I hope that it provides a blessing for you. I'm going to consistently do this throughout the year. I'm going to read from like 4 books. It's going to be Academic Apartheid, Born in Captivity, Merging Souls, which is a book on relationships and marriage, and Old Faithful here, Critical Mass. The link to get Critical Mass is in the description box. Go ahead and order it for a limited time in observance of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We're doing no shipping costs. So you just order it and it's coming to you signed. So definitely do that. And for those of you who are really seriously thinking about making some changes and you want to go all in, contact me directly. And let's talk about working together one-on-one to close this year out strong. I only work with people who are really truly committed. I only work with people who are ready to go all in, and it does require an investment in oneself, but I guarantee you, I have a 99.9% success rate. I've had one person that did not successfully complete the program with me, and it had nothing to actually do with the program. It was a personal choice, it was a personal issue, and they decided to bounce out before they finished. If you stay with me, I get you where you're going. It's my gift. It's my purpose. It's what I do. But in the interim, definitely get the book. It's worth it. If you want to work with me, I'm going to give you my direct email in the chat, but then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna put it in all of the description box so you can come back to this video and see it after the video is gone. But reach out to me if you're serious. If you are serious, seriously. I get hundreds of emails a day, And if you're not serious, it's okay. Take your time, do it at your pace. But if you really truly want to go into 2022 on a whole different level, you start now. You absolutely start now. You don't want to start flat-footed on January 1st. You want to hit January 1st, having went out and had yourself a blast, or however you spend it. I'm gonna spend it with my family, chilling. But however you spend it, you want to wake up that next morning going, yeah, I'm already here. I'm moving. I'm hitting the ground running. I'm not trying to change or do something new today. I've been doing it new for 6 weeks. I've been doing it new for 5 weeks. I've been doing it new for 4 weeks. I am right here. I want you, and I've got about really 4 spots, honestly, to where I can take on a full-fledged client. And that's 12 weeks, 18 weeks, 26 weeks, or 52 weeks. My number one program is 52 weeks, and that's where most of my clients get. So, yeah, who knows about those 7 immutable laws? Oh man, somebody talking good on here. The geek surgeon, the 7 immutable laws, man. When you understand those 7 immutable laws of the universe, things change. The law of mentalism. You've got to understand that there's so much mysticism thrown out there that people just think you just throw up something and hoping it falls down. No, you create it. You create it. Now, the process takes longer for different people for different reasons, because nobody's in the same place mentally. Nobody's in the same place of the process. Nobody's going to the same place. Nobody's starting in the same place. So you don't measure yourself against anyone else. You set your mind and you grow your mind. You strengthen your mind and you strengthen your mental processes. You get rid of all of the toxicity. That's another thing that slows you down, that toxicity, the things that are coming in that are negative, that are literally slowing down your ability to function the way. Do you realize that you are possessing the physical and mental capacity to literally heal yourself physically? But in the Western culture, more than any other culture, you don't get to experience that or see that, because we're so bombarded with so many negative things that we don't even realize that the negativity we're living in is the greatest. Do you realize? I said this the other day. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna stop. I done jumped off, but when he got on and said that, man. But do you realize that 90% of visits to a general practitioner doctor, the general practitioner, 90% of the visits are either directly or indirectly associated with stress? Stress is the number one interfering mechanism with healing. Whether you're trying to do it through medicine, or you're trying to do it from a holistic or homeopathic or naturopathic method, stress is a killer. It attacks the organs. It attacks the cardiovascular system. It attacks the brain. And so when you learn to control that, when you learn to release it and let it go, when you learn to operate in a space that produces an energy of at least 500 hertz or higher, talking about gratitude and up. When you start talking about gratitude, experiencing love, and I'm not talking about romanticism, I'm talking about experiencing true, authentic, genuine love, and then all the way up to a level where it gets real good, and that's the level of revelation. That's when knowledge starts to come and you start to obtain new ideas, new thoughts, entertain new possibilities. That energy level goes through the roof. And do you realize you can manifest some unbelievable things internally? It's amazing the power that has been given to us by the Most High that we don't use. That's what I'm talking about. I don't put it all together because I don't want to shock people to where they don't want to believe. I want to lead them into it so they can see it. The things that we are capable of doing are immense and powerful. And I'm hoping that you guys get a chance to take advantage of that. So whether you just want to order the book, or again, if you want to join me, did I ever send that? Oh, there's the email. I thought I sent it already, but there's the email. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to put it in the description box. No matter where you're at, I'm going to put it in the description box. And hopefully it'll stay there. If not, I'll come back and add it later. But you can reach me at ceo@rickwallacephd.link and let me know you want to work with me, and we will make it happen. On that note, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full, so that when I leave this place, I die on E, and I challenge you to do the same thing. On that note, I'm out of here.